Hello, my name is Ralf Friedrichs. I'm an addiction recovery coach and the host of the Take Your Life Back Today show. As an addiction recovery coach, I want to be crystal clear with you and share this with you. Imagine being buried alive. You're in a coffin, but you know you're not dead. You don't know how to get out of the coffin. Try lifting the lid. The enormous weight upon the lid prevents you from opening the lid. Try banging on the lid to unsettle the dirt. Maybe somebody will start digging their way down towards you. This is what it's like to find yourself at the lowest point of alcohol and drug addiction. You know you need help, you know you can't do it on your own, but you don't know where to turn. In reality, there are probably people standing right by your grave. You just don't know that. You just think you're going to die. Usually, though, people don't think about death when they're habitually abusing drugs and alcohol. In order to defeat an addiction, you have to be great at repressing the fear of death. I often ask you, my audience, did it ever cross your mind while abusing drugs and alcohol that maybe, just maybe, you might overdose and take something away that was given to you by the Lord Jesus Christ called life? More selfishly, take that life away from people that count and love you most. People like your husband, your wife, your mother, your father, your children, your grandchildren. With this, let me leave one last thought. Don't be like the person I'm reading about on these index cards that waited and waited until it was too late. Instead, call me at 844-405-HELP, and I promise you I'll help you take your life back, for your life is gone. Folks, don't forget to take your slippers off at night. Don't put them by the edge of your bed. Stick them under your bed. That way, in the morning, first thing in the morning, you'll get on your knees and retrieve those slippers. And I call this knee mail, K-N-E-E mail. Knee mail is your personal communication between you and God. Ask God for guidance and direction. Thank God for sceneries like what's in back of me here. Thank God for the clothing, the food, and the home that you have. Ask God for forgiveness and mercy. Then, when you're done chatting with God, put those slippers on and walk with God 24/7. Knee mail, K-N-E-E mail. Do it every morning when you retrieve your slippers. Today, I have a special guest coming later in the program, Gloria Jean Roberts. She's been on our program before, and we're going to talk about respecting elderly. And that's a topic that before she calls in that I'm going to start already, and we're going to then lead off when she calls in, and we'll go from there. But it's all about respecting the elderly. I was always taught to respect the elderly, and I'm sure it weren't you. But how many of you really respecting the elderly people around you on a daily basis? What reasons do you have for not doing this? I ask you because I often see many elders in our society not being treated very well. I've heard of people not respecting the elderly, especially the young generation nowadays. They just totally do not respect the elderly. Let's fix this camera. And that's not all. Even family members sometimes fail to spend time with them, which saddens my heart. I strongly feel in respect towards the elderly. Their fortitude, wisdom, knowledge, and grace should be imbibed by us through sadly, it doesn't happen that way. There might be a few exceptions, as I also don't believe that growing old is a sign of becoming wiser, but we shouldn't show disrespect for seniors in any case whatsoever. If you come across an elderly whom you don't know, and if he or she isn't able to prove his or her worth to you, it doesn't mean that you get to disrespect them or just be rude to them in any which way. You need to assess the situation and understand the concept of respect and its relationship to all elderly. We were taught to respect everyone, especially those who were older and wiser than we were, from who you and I could learn something from. Meaning of respecting the elderly. Respect is the basic component of all cordial relations. If you understand the meaning of disrespect, you're able to understand the meaning of respect even better. Disrespect is denial of approval for the recognition of another person. Many people don't value the elders and treat them as worthless. But who are these elders that we are always talking about? An elder is someone who has retired and is usually over the age of 65 years old, though this age may vary because different countries may have their own official age of retirement. Showing respect to the elders means to be kind and considerate towards them and hearing them out, even if you really don't agree with what they have to say. It's simply one human showing respect to another, irrespective of their age. But are you doing that? I know many of you probably do, but I'd like to create an awareness for those of you who are watching that don't do that. Respect is what we owe, love, what we give. Things are fast changing nowadays, and elders or grandparents don't have much of a role in the family any longer. There is no one listening to them, nor do they to their own children even listen or listen to them, or even spend time with them, or maybe not even live with them. How is the state of elders in today's world, you might ask? Respect towards elders is fast declining in this particular society, and it's sad but true that many families, they're treated more like old furniture than part of the family. Or else they are placed in old homes, nursing homes, where they spend the rest of their life lonely and forgotten. However, it's different in the case if it's done due to some medical condition that requires regular observation and treatment by professionals. Personally, I still feel that even in such a case, arrangements can be made to let them stay at home and have the doctors come to visit there. No one likes to be in such a place. Would you want to be in some institutionalized atmosphere? But there are some cultures and places around the world where the elderly are still being treated with respect. In these countries and cultures, the elders still hold an important position as the head of the family, share their wisdom, guide youngsters, and pave the way for generations to come. Speaking of which, the elders in our family play a major role in our lives. Their love and concern for me and my family is foremost in their mind. Similarly, all of us also have a very high regard for them and for all they do for us. Gratitude comes in many forms, and you can express it by way of love, kindness, or simply respecting them. It's for free. The elderly once were young and strong like you are. They worked hard to make a living and gave the best years of their lives to raise you and your children. And now it's time for you to show some gratitude by caring, protecting, and nurturing them. Not to mention their contribution to society and how they worked hard so that the place that you're living in right now is a free place. It's a choice that you got to make to live there. Their sacrifices cannot be forgotten in any which way. I also need to mention that elders in the family have faced many challenges and raised grandchildren when their own children haven't been around, which is all the more reason for respecting them. But now that they are in the golden years of their lives, isn't it time for their children and society gives back to them a little of what they did for all their lives for you, not to even mention serving in possibly World War I, II, Vietnam, and Korea? How can you do that, you might ask? Well, begin just by respecting the elderly for starters. Elderly people need to be respected, and it's one way of making them feel special and wanted. Just notice the way how their faces brighten up when you respect them. Listen to them and express your love and kindness towards them. One of the most sincere forms of respect actually is listening to one another and seeing what they have to say to you. It doesn't cost you anything when you show respect towards elders, but see the pleasure it gives them. In return, you also feel happy by giving them happiness in their life. And remember karma. Oftentimes, seniors are treated with less respect and discriminated due to their age, appearance, race, gender, disability, and income. This may even lead to depression in the elderly. Respecting the elderly doesn't mean just to limit it to love and kindness. Instead, it also is about getting them involved in things that they're capable of doing. This makes them feel respected and their contribution is valued. Here are some of the ways that you can respect elderly. There are many ways you can respect the elderly in your life, but I'll just mention a few right here. You can always add more in your own life. Offer an elderly person your chair or your seat when you see them standing while you're sitting. That's a great way. Never talk disrespectfully to an elder. Talk directly to them, not around them or about them. Try to avoid arguing or quarreling with an elder. When an elder is speaking, everyone else should remain silent and listen. Seek the blessings of your elders before you start anything new. Things like when you're going to give an examination, interview, or getting married. If an elderly person asks you something or asks you to do something, answer to them and do it happily. If you see an elderly person not able to manage on their own in the street or in the market or anywhere else, help them and open the door, carry their groceries. Don't shut out an elder assuming that he or she is deaf or hard of hearing. If they don't answer you, it's because they might be. Being old doesn't mean they can't hear, but in some cases they can't. If an elder has a hearing problem, be considerate and gentle in talking. While driving an elder, offer them the front seat or ask them where they'd like to sit first. Also help them get in and out of the car. Always open the door for the elder and hold it until they pass through, then close it quietly. Avoid smoking and drinking in front of elders. Seek the advice of your elders when you make important decisions in your life. Take care of the elder and avoid sending them to a nursing or old age home. While talking to the elderly people, find out their interests, get involved in talking to them, and show your interest in their talks. It makes them feel good, and despite the age difference, they share similar interests, even if you don't. Moreover, you should never stop learning from them too. Be patient and tolerant with elders. Chances are that as they age, they may become a little bit more difficult to be around, and that might frustrate you, so be patient. Remain compassionate and polite, even if your attempts to engage with elders are met with anger, gruffness, or annoyance. Perhaps there are years of pain, frustration, and intolerance at the society of people that they use as a means to cope and protect themselves. As they age, elderly people tend to repeat things. Be kind enough to hear them out. If you see elders carrying groceries, offer to carry it instead, or if they are sick, take care of them without feeling bad about doing so. Don't think the elderly are worthless because they no longer have jobs. Instead, think of how much you can gain from their years of experience and their wisdom. Visit the elders in your family if they are living far away, or spend time with them if they are nearby. It's a great way of respecting the elderly in your family and making them feel loved and cared for. Different cultures would have different ways of respecting elderly, so lots depends on how and what works at your end. Like in some cultures, the young ones let the elders have food before them, stand up when the elder comes in the room, and don't refer to them directly by their name. However, in general, the above-mentioned ways to respect the elders are very basic and may be working all over. Try it sometime. So when you instill gratitude, compassion, and respect for the elderly in your children, they too will treat you with love and similar feelings when you get to the point of being the elder. You, as parents and caretakers, are the role models for your children. If they hear you speak rudely to your elders, or show disrespect, that's how they're going to treat you one day. Believe you me. Treating your elders with respect is a privilege, not a chore. Hug and kiss them more often, and let them know how much you appreciate them and love them. Remember, it's not long before you too will become an elder and be in the same place. So by respecting the elderly, you're only showing you care and understand their feelings. I could never love where I could not respect. Never forget how you would like to be treated, and treat the elderly people the same way. If you haven't been respecting the elderly so far, it's never too late. Start right now. Any day is a new day to start. Right after this break, we're going to have Gloria Jean Roberts on the phone, and we're going to talk about, I think, 9 different ways of helping the elder, showing respect to the elder. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.